Buonasera, friend from Sicily. Happy summer.
We're having a slight dusting of snow here, Jim and Jody. It's 32 degrees
Hello, if you're
Celsius.
joining us, whenever you're
Hot
joining
as
us,
hell.
hope you're having a great day wherever you are. I'm Esther, and this is Alfred, and today we're going to have a sort of a goulash of everything. We're going to talk a little bit of everything, but first I want to give a big shout out to Alfio Topeo and the people of Galveston, Texas, where they're celebrating the Festa San Giovanni Battista along with us here in Acitrezza. June 24th is the big festa, and we're going to go down there, check it out. We did an entire episode of San Giovanni Battista, the patron saint of Acitrezza.
Okay. Give me a little bit of some history on Galveston, Texas that I taught you yesterday.
Why don't you go ahead since you're the professor?
Monday was Juneteenth, the new federal holiday in the States that nationalized, codified, and celebrating the freeing of the slaves for the last town. And what was the last town that was ordered to free the slaves? Galveston, Texas.
But a lot of the reason we're talking about Galveston, Texas is not because of that, but because a lot of people from Acitrezza went there and they celebrate the festival of San Giovanni Battista, which is so exciting. Oh, who's calling? Who's calling? Make sure they're off. Thank you very much. You know what they're going to have this year? They're also going to have a reenactment of the ancient tuna fishing, which is very exciting. Last time I saw that was down in Acitrezza for the Festa San Giovanni Battista.
Didn't we go to that
looking.
thing?
We did an entire episode. It's so much fun to see that. It is a quaint, small fishing village. So that's really cool. Now, the other thing I want to say that I went to a theater yesterday, last night. I went to the theater, Catania. This was a small theater in the historic section of Catania, and one of my girlfriend's daughters were performing, and it was very, very cool. It was an hour of Italian nonstop. They were beautifully dressed, so brava to them. I've known these kids for, 7, 8 years, and to see them grow up is so beautiful. But I do have to say that I was disgusted by the trash everywhere. And it's again a big, big problem. The summer is here, the tourists are here, and trash everywhere. Even my friends were like, look at this, sporco, sporco.
Well,
it's a disgrace.
I don't want to say that the people of Catania are pigs, but because not all of them are pigs, all right? But there are certain sections of Catania, I'm going to come out and say it, they're pigs.
They're putting up cameras now everywhere.
But you want to know something? It's a cultural thing. It really is a cultural thing. Some of the area now, the historic district where the tourists go, they keep it in pretty good shape. But if you go 3 blocks on one side, 3 blocks to the other side, and the other side, because it's a political issue. But the Catanese refuse to separate their garbage into plastic, glass, paper, like all the suburban communities do.
Yeah.
It's a cultural theory, and I really think it's because of the criminal mindset that a lot of people there have in the bad areas of Catania.
But no, this was in a really nice area, Alfred, and the problem is that there's no pickup. The Lentini landfill is filled. It's a topic that's been talked about.
I thought it was open. I mean, our garbage has been getting picked up
over here, but in downtown Catania.
But it still goes to the same landfill.
I know. What are you going to do? I want to say welcome back to Jody DeLuca, who was in the States for a while. And yes, the festival is Friday, June 24th. Joe and Michelle are here.
Hi, Joe. Hi,
are you guys still here? I want to know. Nona's World is also here. So that's, something that's
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, I'm not done with that.
July 14th and 15th is the Feast of Santa Rosalia in Palermo. And if you think Palermo was any cleaner than Catania, you're nuts. It is as bad or worse than Catania. and they're having one of the biggest festivals.
Actually, I was pretty impressed with the historic
The
section.
historic, yeah,
The historic section,
but the rest
for
of the
sure.
sections aren't. Now, you know what the concerned citizens are doing? And if I was living in either one of those towns and I was a concerned citizen, they're burning their garbage. And I don't blame them. If I was living down there and, the garbage is packed up, guess what? Boom, I'll start burning. And I don't care about CO2 in the atmosphere. For Christ's sake, we have Etna over here blowing up 100,000 years worth of CO2 in the atmosphere with every eruption.
My Italian teacher, Rosalba, is a big activist, and actually she's been going around she's been going around the Lidos to make sure that people aren't polluting, because it's summertime. People are going to the Lidos, they're going swimming, and plastic is still very prevalent here. And they serve the beer, they have the beer bottles, they throw the beer by the water. So it's a big problem. And she's been going around the Catania area, Lidos, and putting up signs. Please respect the environment. Please respect your land. Please respect yourself type of sign. So it's very cool. And, we've talked about Plastic Sicilia. They go around the island. They have events around us where they'll organize a day and clean up. So there's small steps. I mean, there's a very small thing to be happening, but it's people are aware of it.
Listen,
for sure.
The number one issue for garbage in Sicily is plastic.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason is because the tap water at the houses in most of the communities, nobody drinks because of the sky high amount of calcium. So as a result, like we do, everybody goes to the market and they buy water, 6 2-liter bottles in a sack of water. And guess what? There's no deposit like there is in the United States. When you buy a thing of plastic, you have to pay 5 cents or 10 cents. And what happens in the United States is people recycle that stuff. Over here, there's no stamps. There's nothing over here. So you just buy the bottle, drink the product, and discard it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a systemic governmental screw up.
Yeah,
okay?
It's been for a long time.
Over half the garbage is plastic. It's
Nancy
crazy.
says, ciao a tutti. We have a heat wave in the San Francisco Bay Area too. It's almost 100 degrees in Oakland here. Very, very rare. We're having a little bit of a heat wave here as well. But let me tell you, I went today to the Picciolo golf course in Castiglione di Sicilia on the slopes of Mount Etna. There's a golf course there. It is the only golf course built on a volcano, and it was much, much cooler there. And the reason I went over there was, first of all, to scope out the hotel room, scope out the place, also hang out with my girlfriends. But we are thinking, and what do you guys think of doing a golf tour? Not only a golf tour, but health and wellness, also hiking on Etna, some Etna vineyards, also spas over there. So, and a yoga day. So what do you guys think? We're thinking of staying in that little zone, maybe 3 excursions max to Taormina, to Etna, maybe one other. So that's something that's revolving in our head right now.
So basically, it's going to be a golfing plus pampering type of a time, right?
With some time to see Sicily. Yeah.
Now, the other thing that's more tangible, we just got the last pricing on our huge May trip for next year. And we're going to put the price together. I think we promised them in another week, Esther.
Yes.
Right. Another week, we'll have the price out. And I'll tell you what, everything has gone up, especially the transportation with the bus companies. I mean, it's like...
Oh, I didn't even tell you this.
What?
So I got the second quote for the bus because we're going to have a part of the tour here on the north and east coast, so in the Catania area, Taormina, and so forth. And then we're going to be stationed in Avola down for about 4 or 5 days. And I just got the quote from the bus. And guess what she told me?
What?
I can give you a price for this year, but I cannot guarantee it for next year because we're concerned about fuel costs going up. So it is a big issue.
I mean, I'm almost ready to give everybody one of those cartatinis. Every visitor that comes gets their own cartatini, you know, when they go drive.
Why don't we do that? That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I want to say, wait, can I just say hello
to... We're going to put in our
to...
pricing, though, taking the fact that it's going up. So there's nothing that we can do about it. But basically, that's it. We don't want to have to put out a price and then in 4 months say, sorry, it's going up another $300. So it is what it is.
Can I just tell you, we have not
but
only
we give out discounts.
Not
We give out up to
repeat.
$500 discounts if you've been a repeat customer. $200 for the second time, $500. So that'll take a lot of the sting out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Really. That's why.
Can I just tell you that we have people on here, not just from the United States, not just from Sicily, but also from Australia. That is so cool. It is so good to see Joyce over here. I want to read
Joyce.
Lydia. I was in Sicily 4 years ago, and by far, I'd say Palermo was the most filthy of all the cities and towns that I visited. Well, they've had to clean that up as well. You know, it's one of those ongoing problems.
Right now,
as
it
Jimmy
is
said.
the major re-election issue of the president of the Sicilian Republic, Nello Musumeci. He is getting hit top to bottom by the papers, by everybody. You should see the comments.
Well, one of 10 issues that he's really,
but this is
unemployment is.
I think it's almost at the breaking point. I'm telling you right now. And here's the thing that's
What
really
do you predict?
bad about
You think? I don't think he's going to run again.
I don't think he's going to run it. But here's the thing that I'm worried about. As the summer drags on and things start turning from brown to yellow to brittle, and people all of a sudden start having these fires that I was telling you about, garbage fires, this island will burn down. Okay, because as it is in August, you hold your breath. We've had fires down here. So yeah.
Well, those are set on purpose, but there are those people that do set fires, and it is a big problem. All right. If you guys are new around here, let me just tell you that we just did a 14-day tour of the west coast of Sicily. We went to Palermo, Monreale, San Vito lo Capo. Where else did we go? Sciacca.
Yeah, we went all over the place.
Castellamare del Golfo. And look what I picked up for Alfredo. Check out this mug.
It's a great mug. Now, here's the thing about these
Scopello.
mugs. When you come to Sicily, you need to be very, very careful on how you select a mug to buy it as a souvenir. Make sure that it's signed over here. This over here says Scopello, okay? Other mugs that they have that are cheap, and don't go buying on price.
I really like this one. What do you think?
The reason I'm saying don't go buying on prices is because they'll give you a porcelain one made in China for half the price of a hand-fired or a fired ceramic one that's partially hand-painted. Now, getting back to this one here.
Well, don't forget
Scopello. Say
that
this is not a whole hand-painted piece. Typically, the sticker is a decal that they lacquer on, and what they do is they paint the top over here. They gaff it up a little bit.
Yeah, this one was definitely made by the man we bought it from, because he has pictures of him working in his laboratory. He even had some of them that he hand signed. But, you know, Scopello is not really known for the ceramics. And, you know, you have places like Caltagirone, like Sciacca, like Santo Stefano de Cammassa. Those are primarily places. But I was really, really impressed by this one shop because, first of all, when I look at Trinacria's, I don't know, you guys can see this Trinacria's.
Yeah.
I like to look at her face. And her face on this one, the Medusa, really spoke to me. And this is just a beautiful decorated mug. So
by the way, I'll never use that. That goes on my little decorative display case because I like to collect this type of stuff. And by the way, while we're talking about, since a lot of people are coming now that are over here, I just want to briefly tell you about things to watch out for when you go to a gift shop, okay? And let me get back to a mug. How much does a good mug cost? It should cost you roughly 12 euro, 13 euro. That's about $13 to $15. If it's $5 or $6, you're getting a piece of crapola made in China.
The big intricate one was about 22.
Right. Obviously, if it's a bigger one, okay, then it's going to cost you more. Then they have, and this is kind of what infuriates me, a lot of the small, inexpensive trinkets at the junk shops. I call them junk shops. They're those places in places like Taormina, Catania, that sell stuff that says Sicily on it. Now, that's a good one right there.
That one I got in Sciacca.
That's in Sciacca. That costs 12 euro.
Almost 20.
€20?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yeah?
It's signed by the man who did it. In fact, I was watching him paint as well. That's a really cool experience to watch some of these guys paint. You know, if you go to Taormina, here's a hint. Next to the Bam Bar, which is the best granita place in this zone, there's a man that makes handmade ceramics. And he sits out there very often and paints. It's an experience that's really worth seeing. You go off the main course of Umberto, and it's, you know, down below where you go to the Greek amphitheater. If you go down there by the Bam Bar, you're facing Le Boc, which is one of our favorite restaurants. He's right on the right. And, you know, I've taken a million pictures of him doing some artwork, and it is nothing like the artwork in Chaka, Santo Stefano da Camastra, Caltagirone, or anything else. He uses really, you know, very pale colors. He uses very long strokes. It's, if you're in Taormina and you don't know this, it's quite an experience.
Let me
to
get
see.
back to what I was saying, what basically you should buy and what you shouldn't buy. Everybody's going to buy a refrigerator magnet, okay? Now, some of them are expensive, and by defining expensive, I'm talking about $5 or $6 each. Those typically are authentic and are made in Sicily. The ones that cost €1 each, those come from China. Now, what do I suggest you buy as a nice souvenir or a gift for somebody? I think there's some of the linen shops here that make tablecloths or bed linens.
There's one in Taormina where I bought my dress.
Will just knock your
that.
eyeballs out.
Yeah.
They're very easy to pack
Transport.
in a suitcase, and you could also get your VAT money back at the duty free at the airport, but you have to keep your receipt. Okay, things of that nature.
Can I make another suggestion?
Yeah, sure.
I think the pistachio and the almond products, the pistachio paste, the pistachio cream, because those are very unusual items that you may not find in the States. Also, things like almond wine. I mean, you can get all types of wine in the United States now or everywhere else, but things that are very particular to Sicily are things like the pesto de pistachio, the crema de pistachio, the almond items, and also the almond wine.
Did I tell you how lovely you look today, Esther?
Can I read? Can I? Oh,
wait,
I just want
one
to
more
address
comment
one more.
about this. Okay,
I have one more
if you're
too.
going to buy olive oil, and I always suggest you do, look for good olive oil in a can, the small 1 liter can, because that'll travel perfectly. I've heard stories over the year where people don't properly pack glassware, stuff like that, olive oil, and then the next thing you know, it gets destroyed. So if you buy it in a can, you're not going to have a problem. The small little jars of different type of pestos that are maybe 3 inches, they're usually about $5.99 or $6.99 each euro.
Mm-hmm.
Those travel well because the jarring is thicker. So something like that, that's yummy. But the best thing that I think that you can buy are sacks of herbs, whether you're going to the Marchetto or whether you're going to a place like Taormina or Siracusa or Palermo or Trapani or Shaka. Get yourself some spaghettata mixture or some of the herbs that they have.
Oregano,
right?
for sure.
Rosemary. I mean, the hot pepper red flakes, the Etna ones are very good. For those of you who go on excursions up to Etna, geez, that's what you want to get because you're not going to be able to find that stuff. And it's profoundly inexpensive. €2
Those
or
are
€3.
great
They
gifts.
only weigh an ounce or two. And, you know, say you have to buy 5 or 6 for 5 or 6 of your relatives, get them that. Okay.
Good stocking stuffers.
If you're particularly kind of like a cheapskate or on a budget, go to a store, go to a big supermarket chain called Eurospin. They have all the Sicilian products you want, herbs, for like €1 to €2 each. You have an enormous supply.
Yeah, but getting them at the Mercato in Ortigia or Palermo,
I mean,
that's more like it.
And they don't weigh
let
anything
me just read a couple of things. What's Mama Cooking is here. Nice to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Great to see you. Linda says, I want to know if Sicily wants expats. Why do they make it so difficult to get citizenship? What is Al going to do with the many airplane cancellations?
All right, here's what the story is on expats, and I don't want to hurt your feelings. If you're old and you're coming here to retire, okay, you ought to have your own money to retire, and you got to buy your own health insurance. What the rank and file Italian citizen does not want is an older person coming here with the sole intention of getting on the Italian medical system. And it's a political issue. Okay? Why would they want invite people over here where the combined tax rate is at over 40%, who is going to be a public charge? Okay? They don't want that. If you want to come here, you can buy it and you want to retire, then, and you want to be a good citizen, then why don't you go out and buy yourself an international travelers or international policy? At maximum, it'll be $1,500 or $2,000
Let me
a
ask
year.
you this out, okay? Because this question keeps coming up, because I think the issue is, you have the €1 towns all over the place. You have mayors that are trying to get foreigners to repopulate little towns that are now ghost towns because everyone has, all the young people have fled. It is a real thing. It is something that mayors are trying, even Acciaierie. Even the city of Acciaierie, I had a conversation with the mayor, and he's trying to bring some foreigners to come in here. So let's say that 99.9% of the people are not coming here for the health insurance. They are coming here legitimately for the good lifestyle. They love Italy. They are Sicilians, etc. Let's address once and for all that question.
I will.
Because it is true that becoming a citizen here in Italy, it's quite challenging. There's a lot of steps. I'm not sure about it. Let me just finish.
I want to answer that.
In Hungary,
wait a second. Right now.
In Hungary, I know. When I went to renew my Hungarian citizenship, it also was very difficult. I had to get many of the papers from my mom. I was born there, but I had to get, my mom's birth certificate, my birth certificate, blah, 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 my father's, my wedding, my blah, 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 blah. It was not easy. So, Alfred,
let me say this about Italian citizenship. Okay. For those of you who are crying about how expensive it is and how time it is, here's what I want to say to you. Try to get a U.S. citizenship and see how much that's going to cost you. You're going to lay out, unless you come as a migrant, okay, and you rush the border, okay, you're going to pay between $10,000 and $25,000 for a United States citizenship over a 3 or 4 or 5 year policy.
That's a good
period.
point.
That's
a really good point. You put you put it into perspective.
The top end service provider that I know, okay, the top end, where it's basically one-stop shopping, a guy in Chicago, it's like $6,000.
It's a lot of work.
So now, from a philosophical point of view, is it worth it for you to become a citizen for $6,000? If the answer to that question is no, why does Italy want you? Frankly, okay, why does Italy want you if you don't want to spend $6,000 to become a citizen? Now, if you want to do it yourself, then you have to get in line like the people who want to go in the United States get in line, and you have to cross all the T's and you have to dot all the I's. And by that, it's much more difficult with the paperwork here. If there's a name misspelled, it has to be rectified. Usually, the errors are in the United States with birth certificates, marriage certificates, death certificates. Mm-hmm. When they change names at the customs when they're first coming here, every one of those documents in the States has to be rectified and matched up with a companion document in Italy. Now, I have done hundreds, maybe thousands of document retrievals in my career here. I can't think of 4 or 5 times where there's been an error on the Italian documents. Yeah. They're dead nuts accurate. On the other side of the story, Americans are slipshod in their paperwork. For example, I'll give you a rudimentary thing. You sign a contract in Italy, that damn thing has got to be witnessed. It's got to be this. It's got to be go in front of that. In the United States, You sign a contract and you go to a notary, and frankly, most of the notaries don't know jack shit about anything because it's terrible what they're doing in the United States. And they use the word that they're
So
notaries
basically,
in the United States. Here, a notary is a guy that's gone to school after law school and has gone for 2 years, and he's basically a public official.
so basically, they crossed their T's and dot
Every
their
one
I's.
of them.
All right.
One of
Nick
them.
says, I
Wait,
know
but
a
she had-
great
but she had
ceramic
three- she had
shop
three-
in the
Linda-
Arabic district
Linda had 3
in
more.
Mazat. The owner, who's also a teacher, made the products she sold, and her work was outstanding. We purchased several. Nick, are you back in the States? We are so sorry
I
that
want
we
to
missed
answer
you.
Linda's last
Wait,
question
wait,
too about
this-
airlines.
Before we do that, wait a second. This one was really good. I saw this, and we can talk about airlines. I did not see airlines. What are you talking?
Linda, go right back
Yeah.
to Linda Maria.
Right here.
Yeah.
What
What is
they're
Al
going-
doing
the
with the
air-
many airline cancellation?
Buonasera.
Here's
our
what the
neighbor
story is
Francesco.
on airline cancellations. All right. The long haul flights into Europe, more specifically into Italy from the US,
Mhm.
unless there's a motor problem, aren't being canceled.
Correct.
What is being canceled are the domestic flights, the connecting flights that you have to take, for example, from Duluth, Minnesota to Atlanta, Georgia to get.
Well, there's also something else to be aware
so
of.
those are
is
the ones that you have to worry
There's
about.
also some other ones. Ryanair just announced on June 25th that they're going on a strike in Europe. So there's strikes here. You're not going to fly Ryanair, but that is something to also consider.
I want to tell you about strikes. Okay.
But can we just go through
wait a minute.
more?
You just brought up European strikes. Typically, what happens is in the summertime, they want a 4-day holiday, Friday to Monday, and they strike. Not only the airlines, but the bus companies, the trains, the taxis. It's a political thing.
Yes.
It's not like it is in the United States. But here, the airlines are doing their damnedest, okay, to get people here safely and to get them out safely back to the U.S. borders or the Australian borders. We had a person, 2 people that we know, 3 people, they didn't have a hitch going from here to Hawaii. There was no problem getting to Hawaii.
There were like three flights. But it's, it's something to be aware of and something to deal with. None of our people had, except for back in September, there was a strike going on, and two people from North Carolina had to stay overnight in Rome, but they got here anyway. This is a really good question. I've noticed a lot of questions about renting car insurance, driver's license, and permits, gas costs, mileage limits. Okay. Jimmy, can you refresh this? Great question, Jimmy.
Jimmy, look at what if you're gonna come here for 3 months, then you can get an international driver's license, and you get that at AAA, or there's a European place that ESSA knows that you can get it there in the UK. But that's it, 3 months. It is not a license; it's a permit.
Yeah,
it's a recognition that you have a license in the US or Canada or any other country, and you're permitted to drive here. Now, if you get a ticket in Italy and you don't pay that ticket, rest assured, in 6 months or in a year,
that happened to one of
our
friends.
They're going to get you. They're going to get you. They're going to get the car. First of all, they go back to the car agency. The car agency is going to contact you, ask you to pay it, and then if you don't pay it, they're going to whack your credit card, and then you're going to be put on a blacklist, so to speak. So if you get a ticket, you need to pay the ticket.
Now, let me address the renting.
Sure.
The renting car issue is definitely a big problem. Even our bus company is having a little bit of trouble finding cars because they sold a lot of the fleet, and now there's a big demand and they're not able to provide it. And the cost of car rentals have gone up. It is definitely something to be aware of. I suggest that you get a driver sometimes, it's much better. You don't have to worry about it. We, for example, have a bunch of drivers at our disposal. You help a Sicilian put a little bit of money in their pocket, and you don't have to deal with the stress of gassing up, the the Italian laws of driving, going through the tolls where there's no one and you haven't paid, and they take a picture of your license plate, and then where are they going to send it? So that's one of my suggestions when coming here to Sicily, for sure.
What?
Don't rent a car. Try and get some drivers. It probably more cost effective if there's 2, 3, or 4 of you.
I think if you're going to an Italian city like Rome, don't even think about driving.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, okay. Do not you be so stressed out if you go to a big major city, Milan, Rome, Florence, etc. Go to a hotel, use the transit system, or use a private driver to see you around.
Exactly. Well, we agree.
There's one other thing I want to get back to the flight things.
Okay.
Okay. During COVID, you remember seeing pictures in the newspapers of all the planes in storage, so to speak, when everything got canceled. Remember there was no flights going into America and all this stuff, and you still have huge fields full of hundreds and hundreds of planes. Well, when COVID got over, you don't just jump into a plane, start it up, and fly into Europe. There are very strict FAA rules and regulations in planes so when one is in a graveyard, that's what they call them, and is being put back in service, it has to go through all sorts of pre-flight testing. They have tests and so forth, and it could take up to 90 days to get one plane that's in a graveyard back up operational. So it just happened, 2 months ago, that the skies have opened up.
2 months ago.
I don't know when did it open up to go into
United States?
Yeah. When all the restrictions have been, but when the restrictions have been taken off.
You mean the mask and everything?
Right.
No, well, I mean they've been
so
open.
they're just coming back right now.
I want to bring
a chance.
I want to bring this up, okay? Jody, I agree with Nick. My Italian citizenship is priceless. Nick said the same thing, and I would venture to say for those of you,
Jody.
Yeah, and congratulations to her, right? I would venture to say if you're serious about spending more than 3 months here, then Italian citizenship is for sure priceless. But you have to be committed to living here, to the life that is here.
Jody is an ambassador for Italy, and more specifically, Sicily. This woman has single-handedly brought, I don't know how many of her friends and family here. Now, what does that mean? That means every one of Jody's friends and family that come here, because of Jody, they spend money and help the economy. Okay? So to me, she is probably, and also
Jody.
Jimmy Ingram too. Okay?
Yes.
We always say Jody and Jimmy this and that. That's because they're really ambassadors. And what we need is a battalion of ambassadors who have friends and talk it up and this and that. And that's how this country someday will get up off its feet economically. It's not the only thing it has to do, but...
Okay, I just saw that Penny
Dunn? Who's Penny?
Penny just booked our tickets to Sicily on Turkish Air, leaving August 30th for 2 months. Penny was one of my... she took the Italian classes with Stefania.
But you've already flown Turkish Air, right?
Yeah, Turkish Air. I love Turkish Air for sure. There was one other thing that Nona's World said that she said she really liked the idea. Let me just find this comment about the Gulf. All right, I'll find it in a sec. I'm from Milwaukee. I would use the guy in Chicago in a heartbeat for 6K Italian citizenship. And this is Paul in Firenze.
The name of the guy, his name is Italy Mundo. His name is Peter Farina. Italy Mundo, okay? He's on the internet. He's got a team of people, okay? He's not a lawyer, but he's a great service provider. He's busy. Obviously, he's busy. If you have something that's easy, it's going to be around $6,000. However, if you've got something that's intense, where you've got multiple documents that need to be corrections and so forth, it may be more if he's got to send someone to court in your jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing is you may have to make sure that everything is translated in apostille. Anything that's English has to be translated in apostille.
I want to know from Jody and Nick, what are some of the biggest benefits that you find having your Italian citizenship besides being able to stay? Nona's World says, your idea of golf spa tour sounds great, but I'm looking forward to hearing more about next year's May tour. Let me just give you a little bit of that. We're going to do a few days, exactly 9 days here in the Catania, Trezza. We're going to do Etna towns, Etna Vineyard. We're going to have a cooking demo, go to the Sicilian Cart Museum, the largest on the island. We're going to go to Ortigia, downtown Catania, of course, Giardini Naxo, Taormina. So we'll have that. And we're going to transfer over to Avola, where we'll go to places like Sicily, Ragusa, Modica, Mazzameni, Porto Paolo, Pachino, so all the towns sort of in the south and east. And of course, it's going to be the whole tour is going to be around the big flower festival, the Infiorata, next year. So we're very excited, and we're going to have some prices for you very, very soon.
17 days altogether, by the way. So it's not a 9 day, but we'll have it priced out. So if you only want to come for the first 9 days, it's going to cost X. And then if you want to come for the whole shoot match, the whole 17 days, that'll cost Y. And we're going to accept all the discounts from people who are frequent travelers with us. Okay. So you take somebody like Caroline, for example. I just use Caroline as an example. She's come with me three times. She gets the maximum $500 off whatever the price is. Plus, as an accommodation to her, because she's a single traveler, we waive the single occupancy for her. Other people like Chrissy and her husband from Texas, they've been with us so many times and they send so many people with us. We give them an upgraded room. So we know.
Well, no, that's an extra cost now. That's an extra cost.
I didn't realize that. We don't, yeah. But we don't charge them what it's supposed to be.
No, we get it reduced. We get it reduced.
We get to reduce.
It's so nice to see Magdastar. It's so nice to see some of those some people that you guys leave us comments, and then we see on the live here, and it's so much fun. Okay, Jody answered. On advantage of citizenship, living in Sicily for me is the availability of travel throughout the EU.
Definitely.
There you go.
Hey, Jody, I have a suggestion. My daughter Jen and her husband just went to Croatia. They went to Split.
I've been there. It's absolutely great.
And it's really dirt cheap up there. And I had heard about the place is beautiful. The food is unbelievable, and the tickets were dirt cheap. There's a couple of so when you're in here, when you're in Sicily, that's a nice little weekend. They did a 4-day deal.
Yeah.
4-day deal.
I spent a week there about
same time zone
10 years ago. It was fantastic, fabulous. Jody also says the cost of living definitely makes my pension go further. If you can make that work, and Jody, I think your quality of life as well. That for me is a big thing. The quality of life. When I weigh my pros and cons about living here versus there, quality of life.
Wait a minute before you go on to another question. Jody, Jody's a very insightful woman. She asked a question that's like deep. They're all deep as a well. All right. When she's talking about stretching your pension dollar, okay, whether it's a pension from work or whether it's Social Security, pretty much we've been insulated for the inflationary things that are currently happening in the United States, other than the cost of gasoline for the automobile, which I kind of get a kick out of, because here I've been paying between $8 and $9 a gallon for gas for many years. So what I quickly learned is I'm not driving my big SUV or anything else over here, and I get myself, I adapted my driving habits by getting a 4-cylinder car or a 6-cylinder car.
Now we're driving a diesel.
Now we're driving a diesel.
Great.
And I adapted and you want to know something? Many Sicilians do the same thing. You don't see, they
drive a lot of smart cars.
Right. You see beautiful cars here, but you also see a lot of Fiat Pandas, Ford Focuses, smart cars, Kias, okay, that you can buy a good used one here for about 3 or 4 thousand euro. And believe me when I tell you, because the weather is so beautiful here and there's no salt like there is in New England, there's no rust on the cars. So you can get an older vehicle in good
For
shape.
sure, get a
What they
used
say
one.
about Fiat is that it'll run forever, and I'm not kidding you. So long as you change that oil every 3,000 kilometers, and that's the key for the Fiat.
Oh, that's interesting. Nona said that the gas here in Italy is cheaper than in Canada. Very interesting to hear how
Yeah.
everyone else is gas. All right.
I thought California
On that
was, wait a
note,
minute. I thought let me a couple more questions. I have a couple more. I thought California was $8 or $9 a gallon. I said to myself, wow, California now is more expensive than.
on that note, when we see you next on Sunday, it will be this guy's birthday. He's going to be 58 again.
Yeah. So I'm going to be, I don't care.
So bring your happy birthday wishes next Sunday.
I'm going to be 72 years old. And growing up in the city of Lawrence, Massachusetts, most of my friends were either criminals or priests, one or the other. That's how I grew up. I grew up in a tough urban area. And, a lot of my friends in the city of Lawrence who I grew up with have passed on over the years. So I'm now in the age, I call it the age of respectability, so to speak. I'm hoping to live she wants me to live another 20 years, but I don't think that's going to be the case. But, I'm going to make you live. I'm embracing my, whatever it is that you say, old buckism, I guess you could
Stop
say.
it.
But I'm embracing
My
that.
issue, Paul says, that I don't know my father's side, Sicilian side at all. I know his name and that's it. Long story. Don't know how I could get the needed information.
Hire a genealogist. Spend some money. Hire a genealogist. Let them do a family tree for you to start. Or you can go on to ancestry.com. Give them on one of those swabs. But watch out for that stuff because your privacy is going to be violated because it goes into a data thing. So if you're not a criminal, you haven't murdered anybody, then, put the swab in your mouth. And then they will send you a list of people who have the same DNA. You never know. You may find a cousin or something that knows something. So it's basically investigatory work.
Yeah.
You have to do investigatory work.
You have to do that.
Right.
All right. On that note, thank you so much for spending this time with us. Oh, before I forget, don't go anywhere. I will have the Trinacrias, the sterling silver Trinacrias. Alfred is going to be taking them back to the States. My mom and Jennifer will be mailing them out. So we have a limited number available. So message me, email me on that. We'll have the May information for sure. I'm going to have a video on what to see in the province of Palermo coming very, very soon. Got great fresh footage. Oh, and did you see the Bolaro street market?
Yum.
1 minute short. I pinned it on the chat here. So on that note, we love you. Thank you for spending this time, and we'll see you on another video of you, me, and Sicily. Arrivederci.
Ciao.